Most people think communication is about speaking clearly. It's not. Communication is psychology. You've probably met someone who wasn't the most talented person in the room. Yet somehow everyone liked them. They built connections faster. People trusted them more. Opportunities followed them naturally. At the same time, you've also met highly intelligent people nobody wants to be around. Why? Because success with people has very little to do with intelligence. It has everything to do with emotional psychology. And once you understand how people actually think, feel, and react, your conversations start changing completely. This video will teach you the hidden psychology behind influence, likability, confidence, and human connection through lessons from one of the most influential books ever written, How to Win Friends and Influence People. This 80-year-old book still changes lives today. In this video, I'm going to break down the most powerful lessons from the book in a modern, practical way that makes sense in today's world. Let's get into it. 1. Stop trying to win every conversation. Most arguments go nowhere. Not because you're wrong, but because people are emotional before they're logical. Think about it. When someone attacks your opinion online, do you calmly respond with, "Interesting point. I'll completely rethink my beliefs now"? Probably not. Your brain instantly switches into defense mode. And the same thing happens to everyone else. The moment people feel judged or attacked, they stop listening. That's why constantly correcting people can quietly damage relationships. Sometimes the need to be right actually makes you lose influence. People with strong social skills understand something important. Winning an argument is very different from winning a person. If your goal is better relationships, leadership, business, networking, dating, or influence, making people feel respected matters more than proving them wrong. Because the ego is involved in almost every conversation. And here's what's interesting. The harder you push your opinion, the more resistant people become. So, the next time you disagree with someone, try changing your response. Instead of saying, "That's wrong," try saying, "That's interesting. I never looked at it that way before." That small shift completely changes the tone of the conversation. 2. People don't care about you. It sounds a little harsh at first, but once you understand it, it actually becomes freeing. Most people are busy thinking about their stress, their goals, their insecurities, their problems, their future, not yours. And ironically, the fastest way to become interesting is to become genuinely interested in other people. The people everyone enjoys talking to usually aren't the loudest or funniest in the room. They're the people who listen well. They ask thoughtful questions. They remember small details. They make others feel noticed, and honestly, that's rare today. A lot of conversations now feel like two people just waiting for their turn to speak. But when someone feels truly heard, they naturally feel connected to you. And this isn't about fake networking tactics or pretending to care. People can sense forced interest almost immediately. Real influence comes from real curiosity. For example, instead of asking, "So, what do you do?" try asking, "What's something you genuinely enjoy about your work?" Now the conversation feels human instead of automatic. And emotional conversations are the ones people remember. 3. Remember names. It makes a bigger difference than you think. A person's name is closely tied to their identity. That's why hearing your own name instantly catches your attention. But most people forget names almost immediately. Why? Because they're not fully listening. They're usually focused on themselves or thinking about what to say next. But when you remember someone's name, something changes. They feel respected, valued, important, and naturally more connected to you. And this matters in every area of life: business interviews, dating, leadership, networking, even content creation. Here's a simple trick. When someone introduces themselves, repeat their name right away. "Nice to meet you, Rahul." That quick repetition helps lock it into your memory. And honestly, in a world where everyone is distracted, remembering small details feels almost like a superpower. 4. Appreciation is one of the deepest human needs. Everyone wants to feel important. Everyone, even the most confident person you know. People work harder when they feel appreciated. They open up more. They become more loyal, more motivated. But most people only notice mistakes. Managers do it, parents do it, teachers do it. Even relationships suffer because of it. The truth is, a lot of people are starving for recognition. And fake compliments don't help. People can sense insincerity very quickly. Real appreciation is specific. Instead of saying, "Good job," say something like, "The way you explained that idea was really clear. Now it feels genuine." A single sentence like that can stay in someone's mind for years. Never underestimate encouragement. Sometimes people don't need advice. They just need someone to believe in them. 5. The secret to being likable. Want a simple way to instantly improve your social presence? Smile. Seriously. Not the forced customer service kind of smile. A real one. Because emotions are contagious. People feel your energy before they even process your words. Think about the people you naturally enjoy being around. Usually, they make you feel comfortable, welcomed, accepted. And that emotional feeling matters more than having perfect conversation skills. This is especially important today when so many people are stressed, overwhelmed, and mentally exhausted. A warm presence stands out. You don't need to be the loudest person in the room. You just need to be someone who makes other people feel good around you. That's real influence. 6. If you want influence, stop making it about yourself. One of the biggest communication mistakes people make is this. They explain why they want something. But persuasion only works when people understand what they gain from it. For example, if someone says, "Subscribe because I want to reach 1 million subscribers," most people won't really care. But if they say, "Subscribe because these videos will help you become more confident, disciplined, and mentally stronger," now there's a clear personal benefit, and that changes everything. People naturally pay attention to things that improve their own lives. Not because they're selfish, but because that's simply how the human brain works. So before you speak, negotiate, sell, ask for something, or try to persuade someone, ask yourself, why would this matter to them? That one question can completely transform the way you communicate. 7. Never humiliate people. This is one of the fastest ways to damage a relationship. Publicly correcting someone, embarrassing them, mocking their mistakes, talking down to them. Even if you're technically right, it usually creates resentment. Because people naturally protect their pride. That's why emotionally intelligent people are careful with criticism. They don't attack the person. They address the behavior. And that difference matters a lot. For example, instead of saying, "You're terrible at communication," try saying, "I think this part could be explained more clearly." One feels like a personal attack. The other feels helpful and constructive. People accept feedback much more easily when their dignity stays intact. And honestly, most people won't remember your exact words. They'll remember how you made them feel. 8. Admit your mistakes quickly. This sounds backward at first, but admitting your mistakes actually makes people respect you more. Why? Because defensiveness pushes people away. Humility builds trust. Think about the leaders or people you admire most. They're usually confident enough to say, "Yeah, I messed that up." And strangely, that honesty feels powerful. Meanwhile, insecure people spend huge amounts of energy trying to look perfect. But pretending to be perfect is exhausting. One of the fastest ways to calm down conflict is to admit when you're wrong as soon as you realize it. Because suddenly, the tension drops. The other person was expecting an argument. Instead, they got honesty. And that completely changes the emotional energy of the conversation. 9. People love talking about themselves. Once you understand this, social situations become a lot easier. You don't have to impress people constantly. You just need to know how to guide a conversation. Ask better questions, not just surface-level ones. Instead of asking, "How was your weekend?" try asking, "What's something exciting happening in your life right now?" That creates a completely different kind of conversation. People become more engaged because the question feels personal and meaningful. But here's the important part. Actually listen. Don't spend the whole time waiting for your turn to talk or planning your next story in your head. Real presence is rare, and rare things naturally become valuable. 10. Make people feel important. This might be the biggest lesson in the entire book. Every person wants to feel important. Everyone wants to feel like they matter. That's why titles matter, recognition matters, compliments matter, attention matters. And when you genuinely make people feel valued, they naturally feel drawn toward you. This isn't manipulation, it's emotional intelligence. The strongest people in a room usually aren't the ones demanding attention. They're the ones giving it. Because truly confident people don't feel the need to prove constantly they're better than everyone else. They naturally encourage and uplift others. And here's the interesting part. The more important you make other people feel, the more influential you become. 11. Influence is more emotional than logical. A lot of people think persuasion works through facts alone, but most decisions are emotional first. Logic usually comes afterward to justify them. That's why stories are so powerful. Facts give information. Stories make people feel something. For example, if I say, "Confidence creates more opportunities," that makes sense. But if I say, "There are people with average talent getting incredible opportunities simply because they know how to communicate confidently," now your mind starts imagining real situations. You feel the idea emotionally. That's influence. Great communicators understand this. They don't just pass along information, they create emotion. 12. The biggest communication mistake. Today, everyone wants attention. Very few people genuinely give it. That's why real listening has become such a powerful skill. In today's distracted world, eye contact feels rare. Patience feels rare. Curiosity feels rare. Empathy feels rare. And because those things are rare, they become valuable. The people who succeed socially aren't always the smartest people in the room. They're usually the people others enjoy being around. The people who make conversations feel safe, interesting, respectful, energizing. That's a skill. And like any skill, it can be learned. People might forget your achievements. They might forget your status. They'll probably forget most of the things you said, but they will always remember how they felt around you. And over time, that feeling becomes your reputation. Your ability to connect with people affects almost every part of life. Your career, your friendships, your relationships, your opportunities, your leadership, your confidence, your influence. Communication isn't just a soft skill, it's a life skill. And maybe the biggest lesson from this entire book is this. Stop trying to impress people. Start trying to understand them. Because people rarely open up when they feel judged. They open up when they feel valued. And once you truly understand that, your relationships start to change in a completely different way. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more content about psychology, communication, and self-improvement. And remember, the strongest communicators usually aren't the loudest people in the room. They're the people who make others feel heard.